Good evening, Gearheads. Welcome to your Sunday night with Speed City. This is John Massengale. I am in the studio in Austin, Texas, and across from me is my friend Jonathan Green.
Chilly.
It is cold.
Chilly.
It's not supposed to be cold in Austin.
I know. What happened?
And we're very excited.
No. Oh, man!
That'll warm us up.
We have a guest tonight with us, and he's in the airport. It's got a great connection, though. We got Adam Andretti with us. Hey, Adam, how are you, buddy?
Hey, John, I'm doing well, and I'm giggling at you guys being Austin cold. You should be in Indy right now.
Where are you headed, big boy?
To Colorado for some more cold.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's going to be cold.
Yeah.
Well, we got
to be
Adam.
with my lovely wife Tabitha.
Good
so
for you.
looking forward to getting back there.
Yeah, I'll bet
Yeah,
you.
Adam, it's 52 degrees here. It's
Yeah,
Austin
we're saying it's
cold.
We're pathetic.
Yeah, it's like 26 and snowing here.
It's half, exactly.
Now, there is some method in our magic. We have Adam on, from time to time because he loves his MotoGP. And obviously he's a Trans Am extraordinaire driver anyway. But we've got him on because he's our deep throat. He's our man on the ground at PRI. He basically hangs out in Indianapolis, so he pretty much knows the whole world there. And he told me he was going to PRI, which is the big racing convention each year in Indianapolis. I've been to it, and it's great. So I reckon he's been rubbing shoulders with all of the oi polloi, all the good people of motor racing in America, and I'm sure he's got some stories for us because Adam is not shy.
No, that's something I'm not. No, and we definitely have stories. It was a packed, jam full performance racing industry trade show, as it always is. I think Gar Robinson always said it best. This is like auto racing's Christmas party. Everyone gets to see each other and get their business done before the holidays, puts a stop to everything. And but no, it was a fantastic show with big announcements and all kinds of realms of motorsports. I mean, obviously the thing that probably took the headlines more than anything was Tony Stewart being a full-time Top Fuel NHRA drag racer next year, and Leah Pruitt stepping down to start their family. And there's a lot of excitement there, obviously, because Tony Stewart is now facing another piece of history for himself to grab. No one has ever grabbed an Indy Car, NASCAR, and NHRA championship. So he'll get to do something and put himself on those lists that he always loves to be on, right? With the people like my uncle Mario and AJ Foyt and the Unzers, because he's such an eclectic driver and just as fast and everything. So congratulations to him and Leah, and they're also not only that, but they're starting their family. And then Trans Am had a big announcement with Tony Perella and the acquisition there, and a lot of talk about that. And Tony was in meetings for 2 days solid. And
what do you think about that? Tell us more. I've read up on it, but that is an interesting story.
It's fantastic. It's exactly what we needed in Trans Am is to get the support, not only the partnership, but the support financially is great, but also this is a group that knows sports. They know sporting events. They know what to do to take this to the next level. And obviously Tony's done what he needed to do to put it on the radar map, because he wasn't going and shopping for this deal. This deal came shopping from him, as far as I understand. So this is super exciting for all of us involved in the series, and competitors and the fans, and everyone. It's just going to be I kept saying, if we think when we get to Sebring we're going to see a totally new bouquet of flowers, we're fooling ourselves, right? This just happened. So we'll see a few rose petals, busting through at the beginning, and then by mid-season we'll start to see the bouquet starting to form. And by the end of 24, I think you're going to see what the future of Trans Am and the Speed Tour weekends, way that takes shape moving forward. So it's really, really exciting for us, for sure.
And Adam, let's just tell our audience basically what it is he's partnered up with. He's going to remain CEO of Perel Holdings, but now he's got in bed with Velocity Investments.
Velocity Capital,
Yeah, who basically own a lot of, and have been involved in, like you say, a lot of different sports. They're a big player. They own things like soccer teams like Crystal Palace. They've done the X Games.
Mm-hmm.
They are perfect for where Tony has taken the Speed Tour in the last 10 years, and both you and I are very close to it, given we both work on it in a similar capacity and a different capacity. Adam obviously does co-commentary with me, but he also races in TA2, and The other story that caught my eye, from Trans Am anyway, was there's more youngsters coming at you, Adam.
Yeah.
How many more 15-year-olds can they throw at you? It's unfair.
Rafa Matos and I joke all the time. I said, we keep getting a year older and they keep staying the same age. It's another 15, 16, 17-year-old that we have to beat. But it also gives us a great deal of pride because we get to be a part of these young careers and help mold it, and we'll see where it takes. We know they're going places, right? Especially what we're seeing in the talent that we've had come through the series the last couple of years, and Connor Zilic and Brent Cruz, just to name the two. And there's more that go deeper, right? The Evan Slater has shown great promise, and among others. And so it really gets you excited about the future of the sport. For one, that this is where it's headed, and this is the kind of talent that's out there. The other part is just gets us field deeper, and we're already 15, 20 cars can go win these Trans Am TA2 races on any given weekend, and it's just getting deeper and deeper and deeper, and I think that's kind of the pattern we're seeing here, and that's what makes it probably some of the best door-to-door any kind of racing to watch anywhere in the world on any given weekend.
Yeah, and if you don't follow Trans Am, and you're not quite sure what we're talking about, basically there's been a huge influx in the last 3 or 4 years of young wannabe NASCAR, but it doesn't matter. But in the terms of the two you mentioned, both were world kart champions in Brent Cruz, now 15, and Connor Zilic, now 17. Brent won the championship this year, the youngest ever Trans Am winner. And he's already got his card marked for bigger things. He's part of the Toyota racing development, and likewise, Connor Zilic is part of Chevrolet's future. So you're going to be just
what
like
do they call the Chevrolet Young Driver Programming? Is there? I've not heard of it even.
It's I don't know if it has a name like the TRD has, but maybe I don't know. Adam, do you know what they call? But they have
the bow tie kids. No, I don't.
Yeah, when you can tie a bow tie. I'll tell you what he did. He did himself no harm by winning when we did the street race around Chevrolet's headquarters. And he won in style and also came from the back. Connor Zilic. Right. But no, so what's happened in Trans Am in the last few years is that these youngsters have come up, and instead of, they've won the World Kart Championship, and instead of doing the normal, hey, let's go carry on in single-seaters, they've come to Trans Am. But now they're getting noticed by Denny Hamlin and by, Justin Marks and all these guys. And now they're getting contracts to say, hey, like Brent Cruz works at Toyota, just down the road in Mooresville, North Carolina, and goes to the gym and does all, he's part of the Toyota scene now. So he kind of rubs shoulders with the NASCAR guys. And he's 15.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, and they set his schedule. They're like, this is where you're going to race, and these are the races you're going to do. And I mean, it's a great place to be, and that's where I say, like, for people like Rafa and I, we can kind of keep them grounded and let them understand that that's not normal. That's not what's offered everybody. He was given that opportunity because he is that special kind of talent. But even with special talent, it is just not that common to get the kind of program that he's involved with. So he's very fortunate, very blessed, and that's another great thing about Brent Cruz. Great foundation, great faith, and great parents. I gotten to know them a little bit throughout the year and the last couple of years, and just really good, wholesome people. And that's so the kid's going to have the head on straight for this ride that he's about to take, because it's going to be a wild one. He's going to have a lot of popularity. I do believe he will be a household name, and the sport will make him that, because he is that special. And so there's so much exciting stuff. PRI had it is always such it's gotten a lot more eclectic here, over the year, since SEMA has gotten a hold of it, right? There seems to be a lot more tuner, where it was strictly like a racing industry trade show. And now there seems to be a pretty decent split of tuner vehicles out there, but still some neat highlights. They're obviously with the esports and where it's heading. There was a huge simulation room, just set up with sims wall to wall, and competitions going, and Fanatec had a huge presence there among others. And, everyone from just the Ma and Pa little startup sim programs all the way up to the biggest in the world were on the stage there, which was pretty special. And then electric vehicles, like I said, alternative stuff was a kind of a hot ticket there. I had a little bit of a personal thing that was really, really cool for me. And in 1991, my brother John secured the only win in his Indy Car career in the Kart PPG Indy Car Championship down at Surfers Paradise in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
He had his best year in IndyCar that year. He finished 5th at the Indianapolis 500. He also my family swept the podium at Milwaukee that year, where Michael won, John was second, and Mario was third. And that's the only time
I've seen the picture. It was in that doco.
All Andretti podium.
That podium's in that doco I told you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
that
really a
documentary.
cool picture.
That's right. And so that race car was on display
Oh,
in the Goodyear Hall. And so I was 12 years of age when that was all going down. So for me to get to kind of relive that, and I had my nephew Dylan. We're going to take him karting next year, and so I had him there on Thursday, and to get him and walk him around. Now he's 13, so he's right around the age I was.
Yeah.
So to walk him around the car and explain the things that I was picking up on when I was his age, which was really, really a lot of fun to be able to do that. And then he had some pretty neat stuff to add to what he enjoyed about the show. But a lot of fun. But the PRI had a lot to talk about, so I will get back to more.
All right. Well, hey, we do have to take a break, but we're going to talk Formula One tonight. We're going to talk Indy Car because there was some Indy Car headlines. I don't know if you even saw that.
Yep.
And we're going to talk MotoGP. And again, like Adam just said, more PRI. Listen, here Sunday night with Speed City. Back after these messages. Live on YouTube, if you recall. So we got some folks watching on YouTube right now.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Right on.
Yeah, hey,
Don't
Adam,
forget Buffamonte as well.
You said a bunch of tuners? Yeah, Buffamonte. A bunch of tuners. I was thinking, I've been brainstorming about my own car. I've got an old BMW 6-speed V8, and I'm looking for the supplemental electric drive to add to my BMW because it just doesn't have enough oomph. And I'm thinking one of these tuners is going to have some of that stuff one of these days. And
Are you trying to do a deal? Adam to get you a deal?
No, I'm just saying if he's keep his eyes open because I know that there's all those. tuners.
John, why? PRIs every year. Why don't you show up next
Yeah.
year?
I know.
Why don't we do the show there next year and have Adam as
know
our
why
guest?
we don't show up there because by the time every time PRI shows up, we just did Boston, Mexico, Vegas. I mean, we're doing we literally, just caught our breath about a week ago. So that's why we don't do it every year. I swear, every time we go.
Oh, well.
All right, coming back.
I guess we'll always have an excuse.
Yeah, I know. It's not a good excuse.
I'll come next year. I'm going to come and hang out with you guys.
There you go.
Hi, this is Max Verstappen, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, we're going to talk a little Formula One right now because we're going to address this crazy story that came out of nowhere, turned into this huge thing, and then fizzled out all in what?
A week.
72 hours? No, it was less than a week.
Yeah,
it was less than a week. The story that came out in this magazine, Business F1 magazine. If you're on YouTube, you see it. And it was all about the possibility that Susie Wolff and her husband, Toto,
share bed talk.
Yeah. We're collaborating on things they shouldn't have because, Susie Wolff is in FOM.
Well, let's explain. She's married to Toto.
Right.
But she's also running the F1 Academy,
Yep.
which means she's part of the FOM. And Toto, of course, is a team manager or team owner in Formula One, part of FOM. So
anyway, it was all about them sharing information that they shouldn't have. And I'm sure if you're following Formula One, you had to follow this because it was like the only story going on this week. But it was pretty crazy because every single team came out with the identical message saying this did not happen because the story was saying that team principals were sharing information and that one of the teams themselves found out about it and turned him in.
Yeah.
Well, all of the teams said
no.
We did not do that. So
it's really a story of a wolf in sheep's clothing, but there is no sheep. Right?
Exactly.
Just wolves.
Wolves.
Just wolves. Two wolves.
They might have been in a wool. They might have been in a wool sweater.
It could have been in a wool wolf sweater. Yeah.
But yeah, it was. Jonathan, you and I were talking about it a little bit. It was like Mohammed bin Salem is kind of he's kind of had a bad year. He's had a few things, and this kind of.
I mean, to say, in the position he's in, he should quietly sit at the top of the greatest sport in the world, and be on a big velvet,
and just enjoy it,
enjoy it, and eat apples and say, show me Formula E, and hey, I want to see the latest MotoGP. That's what he should be doing, but instead he's getting. Yeah, he's getting
because at the
a lot of controversy.
Beginning of the year, he called the $20 billion offer from the Saudi Arabian government undervalued or overvalued. Actually,
yes,
he was saying it was overvalued, and then he came out and apparently said something that could have been taken as misogynistic.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, about women. No, it was a quote about women.
Yeah, and
from 10 years ago. But anyway,
and we don't know if he had any involvement in this or not, but it kind of felt like he was. But anyway, so. It just was the bottom line is that the FIA came out and said that we're going to investigate this. And then 36 hours later, they said,
no, they're there.
Never mind. We're not going to investigate this. But Mercedes and the Wolffs apparently are still having legal discussions about this. Like maybe they're going to sue somebody about it, whether they're going to sue the FIA, or are they going to sue maybe the magazine? Who knows what they're going to do? I have no idea because they're talking about the journalists.
The wolves of Wall Street.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not supposed to be answering all these questions.
No, you're not. Adam, have you heard anything on the grapevine in the PRI world?
No.
I bet.
No, I didn't. I mean, the closest I got to anything that Susie Wolff was involved with was Williams had a display car, Formula One car there at the show, but that was as close as anything, any talk about Susie or Toto Wolff or, at PRI, honestly, like Formula One is the furthest thing from anyone's mind. It's crazy. It's
unless,
a lot of short track racing,
unless the word Andretti is mentioned.
Yeah.
Anybody talking about that?
The Andretti Global, it's definitely a popular topic. It's something we joke about in the family. You don't really walk 6 feet within the racing community without being asked something about it or being told a comment, or even better yet, the fans are so supportive of it. That's the biggest thing is, not one person has come up to me and said and has been on the side of the teams or anyone holding us back from being a part of this. And that's what's so special. Everyone sees the value that we can bring, other than the people that are involved, that we need to see that value, that we need them to understand that there's a value there. It's not just the legacy product that we're bringing here. We're bringing a lot more than that. And especially I think with Cadillac and General Motors showing a commitment towards the manufacturing of a power unit and bringing an extra power unit to the grid, that only helps. I mean, that can't hurt anyone. And what a blessing it is to have the support that General Motors is, because they said they will do it with no one else other than Andretti Global, and to have that kind of statement from them is a powerful statement, and I know it's one that Michael's taken and his partners are taking extremely seriously, and they're fighting. And I know one thing about my cousin Michael is he really doesn't lose. He was the one that coined the phrase when and I never heard it before him. And I'm not saying it was him 100%, but he was the first person I ever heard say that second place is the first loser.
Yeah, I mean, me and John have been saying, not when we're talking about you, but we were talking about how well Michael has played this like a guitar. Well, I mean, the way that announcement came out at Vegas that they would not partner with anybody else unless it was Andretti. We all smiled and went, "Oh, that's smart."
And Jonathan, I got to give you a bunch of credit, because when this story first broke, I was like, oh my God, how could they possibly say no to Mario and Michael and the Andrettis? And we were just excited. And then this story started coming out of Europe going, hang on there, hold up there, cowboy. Let's see.
We'll take Cadillac.
And then, and then what you kept saying, you've said this multiple times back. You kept saying, you know what? They're scared.
They are.
And you know what? I kind of got sucked into what they were saying. And of course,
they're genuinely
Michael
scared.
just did exactly what Michael's going to do. It's like, okay, you want some more? How about Cadillac? Oh, you want more? How about an engine power unit manufacturer?
Have you got that Ganssi quote? Because I'd love Adam to play.
Oh yeah, we do.
Let's play Adam that, because he'll laugh his cottons off.
Yeah, we've got this quote. Casey's going to cue it up. It was
last week they had the E-Par Trade conferences.
Yeah.
So everybody and his mother was interviewed, including Richard Petty, and every sort of Tony Perella and.
Oh no, I know it's a huge deal.
It's great, yeah. Anyway, Ganssi was interviewed.
Chip right there.
Ganassi was interviewed, and I picked up on it because he was asked bluntly, hey, have you ever thought of following Haas and Andretti into Formula One?
Oh yeah, I like to hear this.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, I every time I have that urge to go into Formula One, I usually go lay down until that urge goes away. Yeah, I don't, maybe if it was 20 years ago, maybe a different story if I was 20 years younger. But, I still view Formula One as, a series that wants everything. They want everything that America has to offer commercially, but they don't really want any American teams over there. So, right. Good for them, I guess. However they want to run their business is fine. But, I think I just wish they'd improve their racing there a little bit. Everything is so great about Formula One. The technology and the venues and the teams and the personnel and everything. But boy, the on track could use some work. I think the on track competition. Yeah.
What do you think?
I can't disagree with Chip. But here's the thing: the big difference there's a lot of differences between Chip and Michael. But as far as the desire to go to Formula One is, Chip never went over there and never had unfinished business. And my cousin Michael's got some unfinished business. He's been very successful as a car owner, and he was extremely successful as a driver. Now, arguably, I would say that his success as an owner is exceeding even what he did as a driver, and it's putting more of a stamp on his legacy. Because let's face it, none of us, and maybe nobody in history will ever do what his father, my uncle, did. Yeah. And so to fool ourselves to think that any of us are going to do it is crazy. So Michael embarked on this challenge on his own and is completely separate from what anyone else in the family had ever done. So, a ton of respect for him. And I know that he is sharp. And I also know that he is driven to get this done and to be a part of this series and to take it to him. He doesn't want to just put a place on the grid. He wants to take it to him. And so he's been very vocal about that.
Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I may be prying too much here, but I having met Michael, having known Mario, I get the feeling that Michael kind of wants to give this to Mario as a thank you, and as a sort of, hey, it's full circle for Mario because he started off in Italy, he became a Formula One hero, he brought America to Formula One effectively and led the flag, and to see him, my sort of thought would be, Michael would be so proud to see Mario at Monza kind of completing the picture.
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's tons of motivations, and certainly that's definitely not one that isn't put on the shelf. There certainly is that. I think we all want our dads to be proud of us.
Yes, exactly.
And to be excited about what we're doing. And I know you do, Jonathan Green. Your dad's your biggest fan, and I love.
He's retired. He's got nothing better to do.
Yeah, right. But nonetheless, it's So yeah, no, that's definitely a strong observation. But at the same time, my Uncle Mario is really proud of his entire family and everyone.
It shows, and
what we're doing.
He even said you were a good commentator the other day.
Yeah, he said, there's and we all joke and laugh about the same thing. I said, I'm going to fill this window that I have for driving, for as long as I can, because it's a limited window, but I can talk until I'm dead. So,
welcome aboard.
Last year's PRI was where Michael looked at camera after all of the discussion, and he just said something to the effect, and I can't find the clip. It's there buried in our archive somewhere.
Oh, we replayed it, I think.
We played it several times, but I couldn't find it tonight. Anyway,
I'll find it.
He looked at the camera and said, I don't give up.
That's right. I remember it distinctly. I do not give up.
And I almost like sent a shiver down your spine. You're he is not going to give up.
He's not.
Yeah. So
No, he's as tenacious as they come. Like, I mean, even when we're playing around, you go out at the lake. It's like it's so funny. I was up at the lake and I was out in the paddle boat, just taking my nephew out. And we're going to look at the bald eagles, being all peaceful. And I come back and Marco's laughing. He goes, "You're so lucky Dad's not here right now. He'd have gone around on a jet ski and just dunked your guys dunked you guys in the lake." And because that's what he does. He just loves to be on top. He loves to just be king of the mountain, and we love him for it. He's always been driven like that, and it's always been that's always been his personality, and it's what made him extremely successful behind the wheel. And let's face it, this is what made him extremely successful at the business he's in of a team owner. And he knows what his drivers need because he's been there. He knows what his partners need because he's been there. And the politics, when you talk about that, Jonathan and John, the politics, you got to remember he grew up in it.
Yeah.
He got to just be a fly on the wall.
Yeah.
Watching arguably the master of it all, his father, handle those politics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good point.
By the way, Chip Ganssi was saying about if I were 20 years younger.
Yeah.
I just curious. I was thinking, yeah, he does. He is. I was thinking about Michael. I thought, oh, Michael's a lot younger, but Michael's not that much younger than Chip. I just looked at him and thought they were 10 or 15 years.
No, they're the same age.
Yeah, but they're about the same age. Michael just seems young, and
he does. Yeah. By the way, if you want to see how Michael ticks, great. You found this on YouTube the other day. Bloomberg.
Yeah.
Did a great little documentary, and I've sent it to Adam, and I'm sure he's going to. Oh, you had a look at it, I think. But
I did. It was
but don't you
well
think that's a good insight into how Michael thinks?
Oh, 100%. No, it was real. It was we were there that day at his house. It was that was filmed the Wednesday before the Indianapolis 500 this year, and he always has the family over.
Yeah.
And so that was all part of that whole deal. And so he was in his zone, right? He was in his comfort place, right? He was in his home. So if anyone wanted to ever see the real Michael Andretti, it's sitting right there. But I mean, you see him real all the time. He wears. He that's one thing I can always take pride in my family, among so many other things. But who you see is who we are. Where there's no facade. It's the same people that are there competing and gracing the screens around America all these years. The same people in the private home. So what you see is what you get. But it's exciting times for us all, and we just keep praying that we keep being graced with progress on it.
Adam, I was at Las Vegas and I was in the paddock, and everybody was standing around. I was right by the front where the gates are, and everybody was standing around waiting for all the celebrities and all the drivers and everybody else to come in. And I was just kind of wandering through, just enjoying the moment. And I looked up and I saw my celebrities, because I looked over and saw all these guys in white shirts that said GM Cadillac. And I rushed over and I was so excited to talk to them. And they obviously weren't ready to come on the radio or come and talk about all this, but I sat there and talked to my celebrities for a few minutes, talked about CTSVs and everything else with the Cadillac guys. And they said that they'd be ready to talk sooner than later. So, of course, they were very mum about it.
I'm excited for them.
I think it's gonna be great. Imagine being on that team, right? That'd be crazy. Awesome. All right, guys, let's get a quick break in. And when we come back, I want to talk some Indy Car, too. I want to squeeze that in, too. You're listening to Sunday Night.
And MotoGP.
Yes, both. Sunday Night with Speed City, back after this. All right, we're still live on YouTube. Let's see. Andy P., what did he say here? And he was talking about the FIA thing. He says, and the worst part of it deepened the rift between FIA and F1. Yep, and it probably hurts the Andretti bid, although no fault of theirs. Hadn't thought about this. Very frustrating, as I do want to see this happen. What do you think about that, Adam? Do you think that little, the rift between the FIA and F1 that could be growing, you think that would affect the Andretti thing at all?
I mean, you never know. This is Formula One politics. It's some of the wildest, most unpredictable, especially from the outside. And truly, I am an outsider. Like I purposely, because of the sensitivity of this subject, I purposely keep myself away from a lot of the conversations that are going on about the Andretti Global. So, I honestly share the things I read, because I will literally read every single release that they put out.
Yeah.
So even more so than maybe the public might read and inform themselves on. So I know what I can and cannot say. If they've already said it, then I can feel pretty confident saying it myself. So, and I've tried to make sure that I've done that, because there's so much information, and we are such a tight knit family that, you know, we do tend to share with each other because we can help each other. And but with this being as highly sensitive as it's been, and the highly intelligent people that are involved, that you know, I just really have on purpose kind of made sure that I've got the least amount of information as possible.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Stay out of the, you know, it's not your thing to deal with, so I don't blame you.
Not at all.
No, it's like I said, it's every 6 feet you get asked. And honestly, if you got really good news, but it's not supposed to be known yet, you want to share it, you know, because the fans are excited. Everyone is excited. They want this. They're rooting for this. So,
all right, here we go. Coming back.
Hi, this is Jay Leno from JayLenosGarage.com, and you're listening to Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio, Speed City.
All right, coming up, we are going to talk about a story that involves MotoGP and Formula One, and maybe on the same weekend. So we'll talk about that. But I want to talk about this Indy Car story, that Indy Car has made the decision to delay the introduction of its energy recovery system.
This is not a good story for Indy.
No, and if you follow social media, the sky is falling. All the Indy people are saying, oh, you know. But, I mean, obviously it is not good. But I think some rational thoughts have said, okay, if it's not right, let's don't release it early, because that's way worse than having it late.
Well, it was interesting because Mark Miles was one of those people interviewed on the EPAR Trade conference, and he was, you know, hey, really excited. And same for Chip Ganassi, really excited about the hybrid era. It's going to be, you know, it's going to be great for Indy and all this sort of. So everybody talking it up positively, and now
at Honda.
But now, it's looking as though it's certainly not going to be until, well, it won't be at St. Pete. We don't think.
They're saying after the Indy 500 is what they're saying.
Right, which is a bit of a disaster, to be honest. That's June next year. So they were hoping to bring it in March. Now we're back to June.
Yeah. So, Adam, have you followed this at all?
Yeah, I have. I mean, obviously that was certainly part of the topic, and there's just been challenges on energy storing and then also on the output, on getting the output that they wanted and that they were shooting for. So on top of it all, packaging's an issue, right? You got to remember, this chassis was designed back in 2000. It was designed in 2011, released in 2012. And back in 2012, no one was thinking that IndyCar was going to go hybrid. So I think what honestly, you know, they're trying to, you know, put that proverbial 5 pounds into a 10-pound bag, or 10 pounds into a 5-pound bag, excuse me. So, you know, and I think that's posing probably some of the biggest challenges. So I think I'm pretty positive that Dallara has been in the works on a new chassis, on developing something new and that would house all that. You know, when you stand next, I don't get my opportunity to be around a lot of Formula One cars, and I haven't really been around a modern one in probably like 3 or 4 years. And I forget how freaking big those things are. They're huge.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And then I started looking it up, and one of the fun stats that I found, the Mercedes Formula One car is the largest vehicle they build, wheelbase and nose to tail.
That's saying something.
They don't build another vehicle that wide, that long, and from tip to tail and wheelbase wise.
That's wild.
Which is one reason why they're going the other direction in 2026.
Yeah.
So.
And shortening everything up.
Yeah, all dimensions really. Less, you know, length, width.
I'm planning to do the same myself in 2026
over the holidays.
Yeah.
Aren't we all? You know, you get to our age and it's more work.
Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. What about the other story about Honda weighing up IndyCar exit? I think that was a big headline too. Talking about the cost of Indy.
It is. Yeah, that would be painful. I don't think anyone wants to see that, and I honestly hope Honda doesn't want to see that. I think Honda's enjoyed so much success with Indianapolis Motor Speedway, with Indy Car. They've been there's been such a dynamic partnership between the two. And I mean, since day one and through all the downs and now this huge up that they're on. I mean, it's a big upswing for the sport. The sport it's so healthy. I would really, really hate to see Honda's departure, from here. And when you think about it, and you look at all the money they're going to throw at MotoGP to get that program in order. Maybe that's why they're thinking about pulling out of IndyCar.
And Formula One, because they got a new partner in Formula One.
That's right.
Yeah, you got to say that Honda's, if they look back, that this has been a great investment, their motorsport involvement over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that probably
the 60s.
Probably their biggest mistake was how long it took them to get it right in Formula One. Then all of a sudden they got it really right.
Yeah, or
putting
Alonso at the wheel of one of their cars and putting him with the radio. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like Honda's kind of always been that way. It's taken them some time to develop it, and this is going back to the '60s when they first got into sport. They didn't come out and like just make the name for themselves. It took them a minute, and then they figured it out. And the only time they really came out of the gate just ripping was in the '80s with McLaren.
Yeah,
and they've been trying to capture that lightning in a bottle ever since. And everyone thinks that they can. And every time they come back to the sport, oh my gosh, it's going to be the same thing. And no, it takes time. Those are rarities that things like that happen. What happened in the '80s? It's a perfect marriage of car designer, engine, power, and driver, and when you get those three that mix together, it becomes an unstoppable package. So it's to give them time every time, Honda. And I mean, you don't need to look also any further than BAR, right? They turned that into a winning organization, sell it to Ross Brawn, and he turns into it's a world championship team the next year. So they know what they're doing. That's why it would be such a painful departure. I pray that's not the case, that they stay with it and that they see the value and still want to be a part of IndyCar in the series, because it is an amazing ride that they're on. And me as a fan of Honda Motor Company and know what they pulled off at HPD, I want to see them push on.
Yeah. What were you
I
gonna say,
just noticed that I thought somebody on YouTube made a good comment, Andy P, of course. The real negative with IndyCar is that they look like they're standing still on technology compared to other series. And that is a
IMSA
good
beat
point.
them to hybrid. Think about that.
Yeah.
And you just think about the normal hierarchy of things.
But, Indy's never been about cutting edge technology. It never has been. It's been about great racing and great series.
Yeah, but I mean, I think
the
relevance.
At one time it was the technology, because that's what all the Indy 500 was about. It was about seeing who could bring the best of what was there. And I can't disagree. When I just spoke about that car being released in 2012, it just hit me that next year's 2024, and this is the 12th year.
Yeah, that's a long
with this
car.
design. So.
Yeah.
In TA2 we don't go that long, so without a redesign. So I think I can't disagree with that statement, but at the same time, if we gotta keep pushing with our partners to grow it. I mean, if I had it my way, again, it probably wouldn't be realistic, but if I had it my way, I would turn the Indianapolis Motor Speedway into that proving ground again. I would make it a deal where the factories, it's all about alternative fuels now, right? We're all trying to chase the cleanest way to transport ourselves. And why not make that the open rule there, that whatever propulsion you want to use, it's whoever does the 500 miles best. And let's see really who is the most efficient over 500 miles, because no one's really telling us that, right? Like all we're hearing is, and that's what the Indianapolis Motor Speedway was built for, was to tell the consumer, this is a diesel can do this. Oh wait, a jet engine can be put in a car. I mean, it got pretty extreme, let's admit, but if you kind of put a looser box around the rules, make it to where all four tires have to stay on the ground all the time, and make it certain width and height and length and things like that, and you got to make it 500 miles, and let's see who gets there first. You would have every manufacturer in the world building something for that race. I 100% think that's the case.
You're onto something there.
But I don't know how feasible that is, right? The logistics of it, and it sounds great on paper, but the reality may not be all that sexy.
Well,
but
I like the way you're thinking.
I think everybody listening and watching right now just was going, heck yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of WEC, back 10 years ago when you had, all these hybrids, diesel hybrids, flywheel hybrids, all that.
Wait a minute. Breaking news from Thailand.
Okay.
I read Honda may go to NASCAR. And that's our man T&W living in New
Did you read that in Business F1?
I did not. I got it from a reliable source. My buddy, whose house I'm going to stay at when I go to Thailand.
No, I mean, and that's a possible viable option. The only problem is, Honda doesn't make a NASCAR engine right now. I haven't heard of anything being in development. Not that I know everything going on behind the doors of HPD, but that'd be a pretty hard thing to keep quiet in that community. And that's
if you didn't hear it at PRI, it didn't happen.
Well, and it's also the Mooresville Telegram in Mooresville, North Carolina. There's because you're not going to go build a NASCAR engine without hiring people and that are already in NASCAR, and those people are going to talk to their friends, and that's how the word gets out. Quite honestly, that's how all that kind of stuff starts. And I haven't heard anything like that. Now, I could be seriously wrong, but it would be a heck of an undertaking. And then you want to talk about spending money if they're worried about the cost of something and getting a return on the dollar, that you're going to spend the money in NASCAR. That's for sure.
Hey, so Honda does have currently in 2023 a V8 engine that you can buy.
What's that?
Yeah.
If you have a boat.
Oh, nice work. If you have a boat.
If you have a boat.
They have a marine engine.
It's a V8 outboard called the BF350. It's a 5-liter V8. That sounds about right for NASCAR, right? It's only 350 horsepower. But it's only 350, but that's that's the stock trim. So they've got a foundation to build from.
There you go.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, the way NASCAR's choking down engines, you don't have to get much more than that nowadays.
Oh, that's really
we got to talk, because times were even, that's the trouble. An hour goes real quick with an Andretti. That's the problem.
I
apologize for that. Yeah.
Let's get our last break in. It's actually a really quick one. So
and then we can go MotoGP.
And then we'll do MotoGP.
All right.
Back after this.
Sounds good.
I was trying to think of what was the last Honda V8. I figured it'd probably be Indy Car or something because they haven't put one in a road car.
Yeah.
I don't know, ever maybe? But anyway, I just Googled it. And
That's
yeah,
funny.
no, I don't know them. I don't know them having any other V8 other than the Indy Car. Now that was a pushrod V8, but it was a much smaller displacement and totally different technology than what you're allowed to take to NASCAR. Like, you're not allowed to have most of the stuff that they put inside that engine in the Honda IndyCar engine. I mean, it's the lightweight parts and the Inconel and all that. You're just not allowed.
Okay, so, I'm totally geeking out on this thing. It says Honda Mustang fans will be happy. It's a 302. It's a 302 V8 in this outboard motor. That's pretty cool, actually.
They copied that, right? They had to have copied that engine. And
that's funny.
They are brilliant at that, and that's what I always say takes them a little bit of time in Formula One, especially, is you have to be creative.
All right, coming back.
So and
yeah, it's true.
Hi, this is Mario Andretti, and this is Speed City.
Welcome back to the fastest hour in radio. Speed City.
It's an Andretti bringing back an Andretti.
That's weird. Have we got an endorsement from you, Andretti? We need to get one.
We probably.
Yeah, I don't know if you have one. You get an endorsement every time I'm on the show.
Okay. We don't have one. Well, I'll get you on that one then.
Yeah, we'll whip out your iPhone when you hang up and just record one for us. All right, so
you got it.
We teased Formula One and MotoGP together on the same day. Jonathan, will it happen?
Will it? There's definitely been some discussions on this.
I'd buy a ticket to that.
Yeah, the idea being that, you could create one hell of a show of a weekend, forget the sprint races, but it would have to be a certain type of track, but it could be, in other words, that would be able to catch, sort of like Indianapolis road course. You'd have to have something to catch the riders as they skip off into the gravel.
I know of a track very close by that handles MotoGP and Formula One just fine.
In Austin, Texas.
Here's the big logistical issue that I don't know if you guys are even considering. How do you paddock all this? Because these are the fanciest racers in the world that need the fanciest paddocks in the world.
That's true.
And as far as I know, these paddocks are stuck full when these events are by themselves at Circuit of the Americas. So I think logistically that would be a huge challenge. The other thing is, seriously, Formula One teams are all of a sudden going to share money with somebody? I mean, and be okay with this? I mean, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
this
good
doesn't
point.
even seem right. So no, I would
they
love
won't
to see
even
it.
let an 11 team in.
Yeah, and like you said, I would buy a ticket to it if I could afford a ticket to that show.
Yeah.
That's going to be one spicy show, and they're going to put one spicy price tag on it, I would imagine, if that would have come through.
Well, Jonathan, talk about where this all came from Spain.
So the idea being that, in fact, it's been mooted as a possibility for Madrid. Madrid want to get a Formula One race, and of course, Barcelona has been the home of Formula One and MotoGP for the last 20 years or so, and a great venue it is. They had a kind of street race for Formula One in Valencia. But now Madrid is getting in on the act. And as you know, if you're a bike fan, that Spain is the home. It's where Dorna are based. But they're the home of motorcycle racing fans, if you like. And Britain's not far off after them. But then there's, so many other countries too. So, yeah, there's a lot of crossover, put it that way. And like you said, though, it's a logistic nightmare. But they've been talking about it. And I also think there's been rumors that Liberty Media may have been looking at MotoGP as an asset, possibly.
Oh, yes. I have heard that. I don't know where I heard that.
I have.
You heard that too?
I have as well. Yeah, I definitely have. And I think there's some actually strength behind that rumor. You see how it's kind of, you almost feel like Carmelo there is almost like a Bernie Ecclestone at age and where he's growing the sport too. And it just seems like an exit strategy, like a perfect exit strategy time for me, for that guy and enjoy the fruits of the labor. And Liberty has done such an amazing job with Formula One. And as you know, Jonathan Green, Dorna's been chasing that, right? I mean, they called you in for a meeting to say, how can we get these ratings?
Better? Yeah.
How can we get what? So you know firsthand that
they're struggling in the States. Yeah, I mean,
and they can't find that niche. And I think what's really exciting for America, because this is the only global motorsport that Americans have dominated over a period of time. Like they ran the 80s and the 90s into the early 2000s was dominated by the red, white, and blue. And I tell you what, one of the most dominating forces we have in American motorsports right now, Trackhouse MotoGP. I can't tell you, Jonathan Green. I did a backflip. You were my first text message.
I know.
Are you reading this? And you're like, yeah, I'm reading this. And
tell the fans what it's about, because it's a great story. Because it also, Justin Marks, head of Trackhouse, also races in Trans Am. So we spent a lot of weekends with that cat.
We do, and I, like you, went hunting down his phone number so I could get a hold of him, and just to send him a congratulations and let him know that there's motorcycle people in his corner right over here and closer than he may have thought. But so this is going to be an Aprilia operation. He since RNF dissolved, they took the open spot on the grid, because there was an open place on the grid for a team. So it's not like they took RNF's spot. So they took the open spot on the grid, but then RNF dissolved. And through RNF Aprilia dissolving, he went ahead and signed up their riders, which I believe would have also been contracted through Aprilia, which will be the bikes that he is going to be representing through Trackhouse MotoGP. And
it's a winning bike.
It's a winning bike. It's super fast. And if they can, it would be really cool if they could pull off getting them on the 24 bikes. If they got 4 riders of that quality on the 2024 bike, I think they can get, I think they can definitely get to the pointy end of the grid consistently like they need to be. Plus, as you well know, Jonathan Green, and as I love to boast about the man, Justin Marks is just a great human being, and he treats people right, and he builds great teams around him, and he will have the right partners for this operation. They will have the right funding. They will not have poor management. They will not be working with old motorcycle parts. They will be a top threat on the grid. He, again, like I was saying, like my cousin Michael, he's not there to put a fill space on the grid.
Yeah,
he's there to get that red, white, and blue up on the top. And I joked with him. I was like, because he missed a couple of races with us this summer because he was in Spain. And he always had something, going on that you didn't want to ask more questions about. Oh, it's our anniversary, and we wanted to go to Spain, and so I joked. I said, now I know why you were in Spain so much here, over the summer. But he's again, what the man does behind the scenes for just humanity is pretty special. So
he's quite an entrepreneur.
To see him on the global stage like this is well earned, and we should all MotoGP fans should just jump up and down and really get behind this Trackhouse MotoGP. Buy their apparel, get your stuff on, let them know through social media how much you love what they're doing, because that's the kind of energy they need to go out there and just bring Americans back to the top on that sport.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't know the name Justin Marks owns and runs Trackhouse NASCAR team. He runs it with Pitbull, the rapper, and so it's a famous name already. He's had a program over the last couple of years to run sort of celebrities in NASCAR. He's had Jenson Button, he's had Kimi Räikkönen, and offering up these guys a chance to
cool
to run.
Watch, yeah.
And more importantly, he had Shane Van Gisbergen, who won the first ever street race at Chicago. Brilliant performance. But Justin,
and I believe he's a full-time cup driver in 2024.
Exactly right. So he's going to be running him, yeah. But of course, he's also been running the 99 of Daniel Suarez. Mexican fans will know that, and Ross Chastain. So he's successful already in NASCAR in a very short period of time. He's a good racing driver himself. He still races in Trans Am and wins, were it not for the fact that he was running off to Spain to start his MotoGP career.
What business was he in before? Where did his money
He was
come
an
from?
entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I don't know, Adam. Do you know? But he's been around. He's been around racing for a long time. He started off with sports cars, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, they've got they got a good family business, and he was raised in a great upbringing in that home, and but yeah, it was I don't know exactly what their business was. I know that they're I want to say it has something to do with maybe Coca-Cola, but I'm not 100% on that, and I would hate to put my foot in my mouth, but yeah.
Bottom line, he's a successful businessman, and if it keeps going,
he's not just some he's not someone that just showed up overnight. Like Jonathan said, he's been around a long time. Sports cars since the early 2000s. He's always been racing. Really special talent. Like I'd say all the time, he's got enough talent to be behind the wheel of his cup cars. And most people that are starting an operation like that at his age would have almost been starting that for themselves, to go run that and to drive it and to do that. And he could have done that, but that's not what his ego's like. He knows what he wants to do, and he knows what he wants to do to grow the sport, and it's all about the sport. And I think that's the way I read him, and like that's why I got such respect for the man.
Yeah, but don't you? I mean, we've been talking about Andretti Global, but there's a synergy here too. I mean, the significance of this story of a major American NASCAR player coming into MotoGP, and not just sort of, I'll start in Moto3 and come through. This is the big time, and he is taking on Marquez and the boys. We've already mentioned it's Aprilia. I mean, this is something really American fans could get behind, and the possibility of Andretti Global and Trackhouse, racing against the world is really good for American motorsport.
And is there any commitment, like Mario has said, with an American driver, about American riders?
They don't. They haven't gone that route.
There is one American.
I do think, I think honestly, I think Joe Roberts is still on Aprilia's radar screen. Joe started to come to terms at Italtrans at the end of this season, and now he's back with American Motorsports, where he had his most success. And actually, they've been running quite well with Manuel Gonzalez. So, but yeah, when you mention Marc Marquez, I know that everyone's so excited about him on a Ducati.
Me too.
But I got to be honest with you, I'm excited to see how HRC develops with these new concessions. The new concessions were announced.
You heard it first.
HRC and Yamaha are going to have unlimited testing.
They need
with
it.
Their Grand Prix riders, and they get, I believe, up to 12 engines throughout the year, where everyone else has 5. And they get unlimited upgrades, I believe, with Aero and things like that.
See, I think Formula One should look at this.
I think so too. It's going to be super exciting to see HRC, and this to me is Valentino Rossi playing these MotoGP politics still to the T. And I'll end the show with this to give everyone a thought. He got his brother Luca Marini on top of this Honda at the right time to where they're just going to develop him as a rider with all this time on track. And we're going to see something super exciting. And I hope Mark Marquez is going to be sitting there cringing at his decision. But I think it's going to be an exciting year for us to watch MotoGP for a lot of reasons. Thanks for having me on the show, guys.
Hey,
it's
not
been
all.
a lot of fun tonight.
Adam Andretti, thank you very much. And have a good flight and have a good holiday season. And,
Stay warm.
And we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Yeah. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody. And thank you to all the fans out there. And thank you to you guys and Speed City. Appreciate you all.
All right. Well, thanks, Adam. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And we'll talk to you next Sunday night.
Happy trails.